All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Horimiya, episode 9.
All right,
Ooh.
last episode, we had some good kinky shit going down.
Talked about publicly at high school in front of friends.
And strange girls that walked in on very intense yelling.
Indeed. That was very much enjoyed. But then we also got a new character introduced.
Right.
And they have a shtick. And it's a hilarious shtick.
They're completely blind.
I hope the new pair of glasses never actually come in. Or if they do, then we just get even more comedy of, oh, that's what you look like.
Right, yeah.
And then we also had that really sweet stuff with Remy and the student council president at the beginning.
Yeah,
it was really sweet.
Those really wholesome.
Adorable.
But yeah, having Yanagi in the story more is something I would very much like.
Yes.
So, yeah. Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Alright, we got a little focus on the bully side of things.
Yep.
From when Miyamoto was in middle school.
Alright,
okay.
like it.
I liked the comedy this episode. It was really strong again. It's a continuation of the not exactly a kink, but kind of a kink, but also kind of a thing of showing that Miyamoto that you're willing to, you know, show a little bit of a different side of yourself to your girlfriend. You know,
and then this is the side that, you know, only she gets, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's special.
And I love that he went to her dad just like very confused and like, so, sir, what do I, like, I don't get it.
To get like violent with her. What the hell? Like a kink or something? Like,
yeah, I think so. You know,
it's like, oh, maybe it's just because, you know, it's the opposite of the way you're like. I love the way he knew like immediately. Right. He's like, no, it doesn't have to be a kink. Right. It could be something else. You know.
Yeah, it's a individual specific kink. You know.
Right. And what I like about this is that it's something that ties into the whole idea of the other side of yourself that brought them together because they both accepted who the other person was on the inside, really. Right. And now this is another thing where she's like, hey, you know, you're kind of one note in the way that you interact with me, so could you, just for the sake of fun experiments, just be kind of an ass to me? That'd be kind of fun. And to be like, sure. But I love the way they set it up for the comedy in that he has another thing that would kind of be a good reason to do this and to practice this, is that he can stand up for himself when he's getting bullied here.
Yep.
So then Hori goes and beats the shit out of them for like, hey, that's my guy. You think you can just come in here and talk all that shit?
And I've got these two heavy bags that I can also use if my fists aren't enough.
Right.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yep.
But then leading it up to where they see her again at the convenience store, and there's a third guy there who's the perfect one to be like, what the hell did you say? They're like, no, you shut up, you dipshit! Like, don't talk to her like that. And they're like, what the hell? And then she goes up to Miyamoto, and he's like, bitch. And then they're just like, ah! Their entire universe just shattered. That skit was godlike.
And I love all the times when, like, it'll happen, and Hori will be, like, still in the scene, and there will be the people that observed it, and they'll be like, oh my god, what? Like in the hallway, you know? But then, like, the camera, like, pans over, and it shows her, and she's like,
or she's just like, you know, like, yeah, he loves me.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Hori.
And then when what was his name? When Shindo is like, oh, what's going on? Wait, is it a sex thing? No, it's not a sex thing.
It's not a sex thing.
And it's like,
he's like, well, then I can be the man.
Yeah. Well, all right, I can do that.
That would be meaningless coming from you.
He's like, so
it is a sex thing.
Right. It's like, well, it's kind of, but not 100% necessarily.
It's like a 20% sex thing, but it's probably about 80%, I would say, the fact that it is so antithetical to his character to do something like that.
Yeah, it's a relationship thing that I'm sure is also done in the bedroom, but it doesn't necessarily have to be just the bedroom or to build up to the bedroom.
Right, exactly.
But
I loved this stuff that they got into with Tanihara here, because he, as a stand-in for all the bullying that Miyamoto received in middle school, is kind of a nice, simple way to just characterize the issue here.
Yep.
We had a guy who had complicated feelings regarding Miyamura. There's
Right.
some things that were left up in the air that were kind of nice in that we're not sure if he was jealous of things like the fact that the rabbits really liked him a lot, or aspects of the way that maybe I don't know, maybe he was all alone on the outside, and yet that was something that maybe he wished
He sensed
to
a kindred
share,
spirit
or
in that,
something
or-
like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Or what have you. The main point is that he really needed that kind of beaning from Hori,
Yep.
because it kind of woke him up to the idea of, oh shit, wait, I really screwed up.
Yeah. Like,
And I'm kind of glad that it happened after that, and it wasn't like he meets up with him again and he's like, oh, I want to be friends, and he's like, no, you were an asshole, you bullied
Right,
me.
yeah.
It's the, no, why would you say my name? You know, that,
Right.
And he was like, oh, shitty guy. And
Yeah.
then gets the shit beat out of him, sees Miyamura in a different way, and now he's like, oh, shit,
Right.
maybe I was the one that...
Yeah, because the one of the things about bullying that's so nasty is that a lot of the times the bullies don't necessarily think that they're doing it, because they don't. People always give themselves the benefit of the doubt, right? Like 110%. See anything that they do in the best possible light, maybe the ways that they're intending it, or even better than the way they intend it, and with everyone else they take it at face value, or in the way that it affects them,
like,
right?
a better way to say it is not that everyone does that, but what happens when people who are, I would say, hurting others, tends to basically overlook a lot of the reasons that they have internally to be basically that kind of an asshole. Like,
Right, and
they see themselves in the best possible light.
Yeah,
but,
it's just
but a lot of
teasing, it's
people,
fine,
Right, but a lot of people do, I would say, actually have a lot bigger problem with judging themselves more harshly than they do others. So I don't think that's like an all-encompassing thing.
Sure.
But yeah, like bullies specifically could very easily see it as a thing where they're like, oh, it's no big deal, like it's whatever.
It's the whole thing that very few people see themselves as actually like horrible people, right? Like even in the most extreme cases, it's like the yes, mass murderers and and things like that, and and maybe their parents are like, what are you talking about? They were the sweetest person ever,
Sure.
Like it's
that happens actually quite a bit,
right, and it doesn't have to be like just like, oh, they're being insane or whatever, right? No, there's actual like reason and logic to it, and so in this situation then suddenly, oh yeah, things kind of get turned on him, and the thing that's so casual, right, when he was kind of pretending like everything was normal again, right? He was talking to him, fairly basically, right? And then Mia actually addresses him specifically, and suddenly he's like, no, don't do that. I don't like it, right?
Let me remind you of the hierarchy and the pecking order.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just love the way Hori immediately is like, oh, hey, just kind of like,
you done?
You done talking shit?
Right.
Fucking morons, and it's just like, oh shit, go off.
Right, and I love that she didn't just stop with like telling them off verbally.
No, she
like,
punched and kicked.
And I love that we actually saw the scuff marks on her knuckles and everything.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I feel like is often,
she knows how to punch.
She knows how to punch, but it's often overlooked in stories, and especially in anime, when it's like, yes, and then they punch, the person or whatever, and it's comedic, right? It's whatever, right? But no,
when you punch the face,
when you punch the
bones are right there,
right? That'll mess you up too, and that's
yeah.
why it's important to know how to punch properly. That way, the skin on the knuckles is the only thing that gets hurt, right?
Yes.
Because otherwise, you'll hurt yourself more than you
break
hurt
your hand.
Yeah, more than the other person, right? But that also just helps to communicate much more than showing the actual impact of how hard her punches were, right?
Right. How pissed she was at them.
Exactly. Yeah.
She wasn't going to stand for this. She didn't turn into the cliche of the, stand up for yourself, Miyamura, be a man. She was like, nuh-uh. I don't conform to any of that bullshit. I'm going to come in here and beat the shit out of you.
Right, and we don't see it being something like, suddenly she grabs them and spins them around by their heads or whatever, right? It's no anime superpowers necessarily.
No, it's not glamorous.
Right, it's not glamorous. We don't even see it. It's just she goes wild on them.
Yeah, we see scuff marks over their faces, and we see her knuckles in the sink.
And that's it. And that's it. And I feel like that communicates so much more about what actually went down there. And so I loved how that was presented.
I agree.
In addition to it being something that also follows to the faster pace of this show.
Sure.
You know, like it's benefit and benefit. So yeah.
Oh, but okay. The reveal that he's so rattled by this that it calls forth, I would say, dreams or nightmares even.
Sure.
Of him being locked away with Miyamura while the rabbits that he let die are scampering about, and he's basically having everything that he's done flipped back on himself.
Yep.
And he's having, I would say, a bit of a really cool like growth opportunity moment, because if he didn't hit kind of the concrete really hard, basically, he might never have realized the pain of this whole thing, except for the fact that the rabbits is a thing that he seems to have always been kind of feeling guilty about.
Which makes sense, because
you're psycho. You let animals die.
You know, and it didn't necessarily have to be something that was like, oh, I'm thinking about the fact that I'm going to starve them to death.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
But
still,
as a result of his action/inaction that was not purely accidental, right?
No.
There was intention to it, even if there wasn't intent to have those specific consequences. He killed a bunch of animals that he also cared about, right? That'll absolutely fuck you up, especially if you're really young. You know, And given the fact that it seemed like that was the sort of thing that he wouldn't let himself necessarily talk about, because he wouldn't want to be like grouped into a similar kind of like situation as Mia.
Sure.
You know, of, oh no, I don't care about the animals, whatever, it's nothing. You know, extrapolation.
But
of course,
if people knew what I did, I would be put into the outside area.
Yeah.
Locked away,
right?
No one else would basically care to engage with me.
So then he doesn't have anyone really to process it with, right? Because it's his little lie that he keeps to himself.
Yeah,
and that will absolutely eat you up from the inside.
But the fact that he did not only that, but that he then blamed it on Miyamura.
Yep.
This is the kind of thing where Miyamura might actually have believed him at that age. There's a possibility that when he was looking at the rabbits, he was looking at them with this like,
wait,
maybe I did do this.
Yeah.
God, I am really glad that he is suffering in the midst of this.
Right.
That this is not some easy thing for him.
It would be easy in a situation like this, for a person to be like, I don't like the consequences of my actions, therefore I want that to change, rather than actually myself wanting to change, right? And it can be the line between the two can get fuzzy, right?
Yes.
So it can be something where it's like, oh no, I want to change, but you think that, but you don't actually want that, right? And so having that kind of gauntlet that you have to go through to really see, not just so that other people can see, so that they know whether or not they can trust you, but also so you can see for yourself, is this actually something that I want, right?
Yeah.
Do I actually want the work of change? Do I want to be a different person? Or do I just want to not have to deal with consequences?
Right.
So.
Oh, there's so much that could be got into with that. But I really love that this was kind of a, hey, I'm going to start by engaging with you. And, does that mean, me kind of looking for your number and stuff, and then also, trying to, get us set up to where I could spend more time with you, and then maybe I could eventually work up the courage to tell you what I did, apologize, and, take steps in the right direction to change who I am. And I love the fact that Miyamura then kind of talks with Hori about like, hey, we kind of clicked a little bit the other day. And she's like, what are you, a masochist? And it's like, Hori,
you're one to talk.
Hori, you are literally the one telling him to yell at you and hit
slap
you
you
and stuff. You're the masochist, honey.
Well,
sorry.
By the way, different thing, but when the other guy was like, oh, why does she even like you and stuff? And then Mia's like, could you ever punch her? And it's like, what? What are you talking about? No. Yeah, you can't handle her. And the way he said it, it's like, that sounds so bad out of context.
Yeah.
You can't punch her, and you couldn't handle a girl like her. It's like, oh my God. But no, it's no, really. I have been struggling with this for a long time. I'm saving you some, some confusion and potential pain. Right?
Yeah. But, yeah. I did think about the potential that Tanihara had a crush on Miya, and that's why he was doing all this, because there might have been a through line this episode of having the other guy, Mizuchi, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
Being like, hey, well, why did she choose you, basically? Mm-hmm. And then...
Because I'm a bad boy.
Well, but basically that's another person, basically, that's kind of like, kind of sending negative messages of sorts.
Gotcha.
To someone is like, I wish I could be with them, and then in this case as well, the bullying maybe is like, I wish, but I don't think that's what they're doing. So
yeah, I don't think so necessarily, but I do feel like there was a good chance and potentially a desire to have been friends at the very least with Miyamura, if not for the fact that Miyamura was the social outcast, because they did at least have some similarities. They both really liked the rabbits, right? And that's something that I wouldn't necessarily assume a lot of middle school boys to be interested in, and of like, oh, these animals are so adorable, right? Like,
right.
They might be like, but I'm not interested in that stuff. So, yeah, I don't know, but it's a complicated situation. I don't know how much it'll be explored necessarily before the end of the show.
Yeah, because we only have so much time left.
We only have so much time, and even the other girl, Honoka, like she was introduced a while back. Interesting character. Haven't seen her really since.
Yeah.
Because this is a big cast.
It seems to be more just kind of little mini episodic problems that could then get brought up later in just general continuity stuff.
Yeah, they could be a background character that's like, you see them around and whatnot. Yeah.
But yeah, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below. For our Patreon, you can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.